There we go. Okay.
Hey.
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 So I'm here with Adrienne Rae Ash from the band Plasma Canvas, and super stoked to be doing this interview with you. And we are drinking coffee and tea from Momo Lolo, a local coffee shop.
Hell yeah. I was going to ask where you got this. It's delicious.
Yeah, I live really close to there, so I can't really help myself. I go there way too often.
I live really close to Starbucks, and it's pretty cool because every time I walk past, I just envision myself just like throwing bricks through the windows, fighting for the 8-hour day.
Fuck you, corporate America.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, always good opportunity.
It's an Against Me reference. Just.
Oh, damn it. I missed that one. Okay. Well, so I kind of wanted to start with just like talking a little bit about the song you want to play today, what it's called, and kind of like why you chose the song you chose. So, yeah.
So the song that I want to play for y'all today is called By the Time the Weekend Comes. And I wrote it when I was in a really dark place. And I find that like I just keep coming back to it, over the years. Like I wrote it 4 years ago now. And it just, whenever I'm in a good spot in my life, it reminds me of like how much progress I've made. And like when I'm having a dark time, it just like, sometimes it just feels good to sit in it for a while, and just like really live in those feelings and take that all in because, that's how I heal sometimes, is like just to have to feel everything to the fullest extent. And so this song came because, in a specific sense, like on the day that I wrote it, I had a date with somebody, and I was just feeling hopeless, and I had a date that weekend, but I was thinking about killing myself, and I realized that those two things were not conducive to each other, so I wrote a song instead, because I didn't want to disappoint one more person, because I just, that was the whole thing, was like I feel like a burden, I feel like a disappointment, I just feel like shit in general, so I wrote this sad song about just feeling disillusioned, and like just asking questions that like the universe isn't just going to answer for you. And it's kind of like a song that sort of screams into the void, but I don't really scream in that song. It's just about like asking these existential questions, like what does it mean to be alive, and like does my life have any value? And just like pondering questions like, what's it who's gonna be the last person to think about me? Because eventually one day someone is going to think about you for the last time. And, after that, like, who knows, and just, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to dwell on stuff like that for long periods of time. Like, I try not to live in that kind of feeling, but, by the time the weekend comes, like, to me, like it captured what I was feeling at the time, and it's good to revisit it sometimes. And it's also nice to play in the middle of a set whenever I'm like sweaty and I can't breathe, and I need to do something that doesn't involve running around and almost throwing up everywhere.
Yeah, the intensity of performance, for sure. You said that when you wrote this song, you were in that dark place. How did the songwriting process impact the way that you were feeling in that moment?
It just kind of, whenever I just picked up my pen and started writing this song, it was one of those that like I had an idea for like a couple of lines, and then suddenly there were 2 pages worth of lyrics, and I just remember writing down everything that I needed to say. And I think that's why I'm so proud of that song, is because like it captured a concise moment, and it captured it fully. It just felt like everything that I was feeling in that moment, from like just general depression to like the big spiritual questions that I was asking, like it all kind of ended up in that song. And it's nice to play it because it reminds me that not every song that I've written sucks. I have that complex where I think that everything I write sucks, and then I play that one, I'm like, okay, well, that one doesn't suck as bad.
Yeah, like this one gives you some meaning, some personal depth there. It sounds like in a time where that was sort of the light that you were reaching for in a really dark moment.
Totally.
And I'm just curious too, like, it sounds like I don't know, I was just getting a sense of you as being this fighter, right? Like you're going through all of this really tragic turmoil and like dealing with a lot of really heavy stuff. And I don't know, like I just got this sense that songwriting is a way to fight back against that. Does that feel accurate, or does that feel different from your experience?
Songwriting is, for as long as I can remember, has always been my way of dealing with anything, or just reacting to anything, like positive or negative. Um, I remember writing songs that were terrible when I was like 14, 15 years old, about getting bullied in school, and then I remember um, whenever my best friend at the time like was sent to Afghanistan to fight with the army, I remember writing a bunch of like anti-war songs and like whenever I was still in the closet, but I wanted to like talk about gay rights, I wrote this song that I said was about someone else, but it was really about me. So like, I don't know, that's a little bit off topic, but like songwriting has always been a way for me to like interpret and react to the things that happen to me in my life. And I've written whenever like maybe I'll have a crush on somebody, I'll write a song about it. If things are not going well in said relationship, I'll write a song about that. And, like it's just sort of a diary. That's sort of how I write, and that's why I'm always continuously writing stuff. Is because I haven't stopped living. So it's just my way of. It's sort of like therapy. I should probably get a real therapist, but for now, I have this really awesome notebook that just like absorbs everything that I give to it and doesn't give me any kind of criticism. And I love that because then I don't have to self-critique or reflect on anything. I just like vomit into a notebook, and it's just like, wow, that's great.
Sounds like it's been a place for you. Like songwriting's been sort of a safe haven in a world where you didn't always get a lot of acknowledgement or visibility in certain spaces, and that acceptance is hard to find. Especially, it sounds like the things that you've been coping with your whole life.
Yeah. Just feeling rejected by the world, and like always knowing that my guitar is never going to yell at me. Like I grew up in kind of, my mom was a single mom with 3 kids. Some of her boyfriends were total assholes, and like just dealing with stuff like that, and like shitty people being shitty, and then like later on after I came out as trans, like people being obnoxious jerks. It just it is a way to fight back against against these outside forces that would otherwise like see me become smaller and quieter, and like whenever I get to write down exactly how I feel in a notebook and no one gets to tell me that I'm wrong, and I pick up a guitar and like throw some chords around it, like it feels great knowing that like I can always just write a song and there's no rules to it. Like no one can tell me that I did it wrong. Like I always have that safe outlet. I love knowing that.
I bet, and I'm sure there are people in the community too when they hear your songs that it gives them a voice, it gives them a sense of empowerment to say, look, maybe there are people like I can't be what I can't see, and I think you're giving visibility to something that's really, really important.
I've never heard that little phrase before, but I really love that. I can't do what I can't see.
I don't think I can take credit for. I think that was Eleanor Roosevelt, but I've
That's
always really held
so
on to
perfect
that.
though, because it's true. Like as soon as you see someone kick down the door and like open up a new way of thinking about stuff, like let's take being trans for instance, because it's something that I know with my life. Like whenever I was 21, I was with my girlfriend in a small town in Missouri outside of Kansas City, and I was happy in my relationship, but I wasn't happy overall. And like, there was something deep down inside of me that I did not know about. And I just knew that, I was in love with my partner, but I was worried that if she knew all of me, then she wouldn't love me. And like, I didn't even know what all of me was. I just knew that there was some part of me that like was objectively unlovable. And so I just buried it as shame. And then like I I went to the gas station one day and there was Rolling Stone. They stocked Rolling Stone at this gas station because it was like the one gas station for like miles and miles and miles because it was a very small town. But they had Rolling Stone in there, and I just remember seeing the secret life of transgender rocker Tom Gable, and I was just like, "Who's Tom Gable?" First of all, and I was like, but also like transgender, like the word transgender on the front of Rolling Stone, like, wow, that's very progressive. Like I just remember thinking that was super forward of them, and I was like, wow, that's cool, and so I bought it because instinct, and I remember reading it and just thinking like, wow, that's really neat, like how brave of her to just like announce this publicly and just like risk so much by saying like this is who I am, and like all of the punk bros can just eat it.
Yeah.
I thought that was the shit, but I still didn't even, it still didn't click for me for another like couple years, but just like seeing that kind of representation and that kind of like fuck you, I don't care, like I'm gonna live my truth and you're just gonna die mad about it, like that is the kind of shit that people need. And so I just really wanted to tell you how much I appreciated hearing that, because like that's what that phrase meant to me directly, and like just to hear you sort of put that same perspective into like what I do, that was really just it was really nice to hear. Things.
Nice to hear what you're saying too, and I just get the sense of like how you've had to sort of, like you said, minimize, diminish, and fragment yourself and parts of yourself that are acceptable to people. Music seems like a place to be all those things and have that be okay. So I hope there are more spaces in the future where that feels like something people get access to.
Yeah, and I've had young people, I've had people in people of all ages and all backgrounds really come up to me and talk to me at shows, and I love that because we'll win over like some burly older punk dude type, we'll win over the metal people because like I've got influences all over the place when it comes to guitars and like music, and then we'll also get like the young queer kids. We'll get everybody from like the tacky mohawk punks, in the No Effect shirt, and like the Casualties mohawk, like we get the
Those are still
cartoon punks.
around?
Oh, they're totally around. Go to Seventh Circle Music Collective. They all live there.
Oh my god.
Seventh Circle is the shit, by the way.
Okay,
Just
okay.
throw it in my flag. I mean, I'm literally wearing a Seventh Circle Music Collective patch. And they have a trans flag patch. It's super cool. But,
oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it's neat because we'll get like a wide variety of responses from people, and it's nice to know that we can reach different groups of people, and like the people that need it are finding it, and then the people who had never thought to like think about gender or just different, like living in a different way in general, like people that just don't get a lot of exposure into other people's lives. Like it's just neat because you know I feel like people like there's something for everybody at our shows. And like everyone's welcome as long as you're not being a dick.
Yeah.
Can I say dick on here?
Yeah,
dick,
totally.
Dick, 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 dick.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. Oh shit. Yeah. Well, let's play this fucking song. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Let's do it. So do you mind saying the name of the song one more time?
It's By the Time the Weekend Comes.
By the Time the Weekend Comes. By Adrienne Rae Ash.
Technically by Plasma Canvas.
By Plasma Canvas.
It's on our first record. But I'm playing it.
What's the first record called?
It's just self-titled Plasma Canvas.
Plasma Canvas, right?
We're gonna edit this part out. Oh, let's edit the part out where I like.
Video editor.
Yeah. I'm gonna take off my glasses because they always slide down my face.
Oh, totally. I remember seeing that at Grand Stinking Used. I was like, I know that struggle.
Oh god, it sucks because I always forget that I have glasses and need them.
Yeah.
Shout out to is it Momo
Momo
Lolo?
Lolo, yeah.
Sick.
Awesome.
Super sick. I smoke up. After 8 hours of factory labor, it's just nice.
So, yeah, long day for you. And
thank you, Momo Lolo. Okay, so the song is called By the Time the Weekend Comes, and it goes, well, I guess by the time the weekend comes, I know if I'm worth anything. 'Cause I'm basing how I feel about how I look, no more or less than what you think. 'Cause all I want is to feel safe and spend some time with someone who shines the same shade of insane. Well, I guess by the time the morning comes, I know if I'm worth anything. See, I've done my best to grow and change, but I've lost myself along the way. Been watching all my friends grow up, and slowly poisoning myself while they're having kids and falling in love. So we were all just children, living in opposite ways of the things that we'd say when we got to this age on an internet page. The camera eats you alive with all it would settle itself with our souls on the shelves, and we wouldn't be held to the stories we tell. We sold our rebellion, now we're fighting on. Well, I guess by the time that my time comes, I'll know if I'm worth anything. All the lies that I told to keep myself good and stoned, hope you forgive most of them someday. And this is starting to feel like goodbye. So write on my headstone, the girl who would live a life. Well, I guess by the time the weekend comes, I know if I'm worth anything. We'll trade awkward stares, struggle through stories we'll share, and I might send you a desperate wink. 'Cause I ain't here to pretend. We all want to be loved in the end.
it. Thank you so much for doing this and taking the time out of your day. And yeah, it was awesome. Can I give you a hug?
Yes.
That was great.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm glad that you wanted to do it.
Heck yeah.
That was super cool.
Oh yeah.
My voice is all fucked up because I went to a show last night and yelled really loud. I kept forgetting the lyrics.
I think you're just building a case for being more authentically punk.
Yeah, I mean, people that know that song are gonna watch this and be like, "That's not how it goes." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever. I wrote it."
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah, there's a pause here now.
I liked that actually. I thought that was intentional. I liked it.
It was.
Right. All right. Well, thank you all for watching, and this is Adrienne Rae Ash signing off. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.